Hey everybody, Coach Stacy Lynn here. Hey, I'm so glad that you clicked, and I hope you stay with me for a few minutes because today I want to share with you some personal things. I have come to a place in my life where I actually just I haven't shared things. I spent 20 years interviewing people about their stories. But I've never really shared my own. And I've had a lot of people say, well, why don't you write a book about your life? These are friends of mine that I've talked to and know stuff. On this channel, for the most part, I have exposed some evil. I've given tips. I've done all this other stuff. But, I'm a coach and I'm a former therapist. And, I think part of the reason why I haven't disclosed as much is because I'm just not used to it. And I intentionally, for 20 years, didn't share any of my story. I wrote a book in 2002. It was published called Pickleball Faith, Inspiration on and Off the Court. That book was just like a little peek into my life on the pickleball court and the things that God showed me during that time. But that book is really a book of recovery and healing based off all these years, 40 years later, of all of the work that I've done in my own recovery. And so I was thinking about it today, and I was thinking, why would I hire me? Why would I hire me if you didn't know anything about me? And I thought, maybe I should start sharing some of my stories. So hopefully you will appreciate that. Right now, I have a dog over here. He wants to get down. So I'm going to go get him because I thought he was going to be okay, but I'll be right back. I'm just going to get up here and go get him because he's blind and deaf. And rather than re-record for the fourth time, I'm just going to go get him. So those of you who don't know, this is Grover, and he is 15 years old. He's my Bichon Frise. He is a purebred. He is blind. He wasn't blind when I first got him. And he's mostly deaf. Aren't you, Humpapa? So he needs to be held. And I'd rather hold him than anything. So anyway, so I understand abuse. I understand loss. I'm almost 60 years old, and I've gone through a lot of things that I've never really shared. I've shared overviews of things, but never really gotten into some of the private details of things. And I don't know how deep I'll go into some of these things, but my walk with the Lord is what got me through them. And so that's very key to understanding who I am, how I coach, and what you'll get here on the channel. Now, there's no shortage of videos on the channel with tips and things. But I want you to know how God has written his story in my life. Because when I became a Christian, he came in and he rescued me. I mean, it was literally a swoop in and rescue me. And I know from history that if God had not come into my life, I would either A, be dead, because I was very depressed as a teenager in particular, or I could have gone down a path of big time massive self-destruction, which a lot of people do. I could have been involved in drugs. I could have been involved in, a lot of self-destructive behaviors if the Lord hadn't come in and rescued me. And I am forever grateful to my friend Gail, who shared the gospel with me when I was in ninth grade. I was in choir. My family had just moved again. I went to 4 elementary schools, 2 junior highs, and it was a miracle. I literally only went to 1 high school. So I had a lot of disruption growing up in my childhood. My parents were divorced. There was abuse in that marriage. My mom took me away from my father. My dad didn't pursue it. My mom moved us in with a relative who sexually abused me. She sex trafficked me through that issue. There was a lot of garbage, a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of sexual abuse, a lot of emotional abuse. And some of that stuff I still struggle with it to this day. And I'm 57 years old. I came to Christ, though, when I was a freshman. It was really before I entered high school, but it wasn't clear. I didn't understand what the gospel really was until high school. And when I got my first Bible, Gail had her grandmother give me a copy of the Living Bible, and it changed my life. But it hasn't been easy. And that's what I want you to know. What I want you to know is that being real and being authentic and being vulnerable, that has not come easy to me. It's been a very long journey. I've spent a very long time in my own therapy, and then I went through grad school. I spent time in the counseling chair where I counseled people as a therapist. And then the Lord redirected me to do media, where I sat a long time behind a microphone and listened to people over and over again. And through all of that, God has grown me and shown me things, and I've changed a lot. If somebody had told me when I was a teenager that my life would be what it is today, I would have thought they were crazy, probably. Between my mom and my dad, there were 7 marriages. Between my parents and my husband's parents, there were 12 marriages and divorces. And this year, my husband and I celebrated 33 years of marriage. And that wasn't an accident. That was hard work. And that was God's work in our lives, because we trusted in Christ, and because when Christ came into my life as a young girl, he literally rescued me. So part of knowing me is understanding why I love God so much. And part of the way I coach people is with that understanding that this is who God is. This is who Jesus is. And this is what his word is, and how his word can literally change you. And I've gone through spiritual abuse. I've been abused in churches. I've had female women's leaders put knives in my back. I mean, it's been bad. But through it all, and this is what I want you to know, through it all, I want you to know that I have joy. And I still have struggle, I woke up this morning, just as an example. Today is December 29th. I woke up this morning and I was looking at my phone and I couldn't see. And I couldn't see right, let me put it that way. And I was like, okay, this is strange. I've struggled with ocular migraines, which I talked a little bit about in a recent short. But I couldn't see, and I got up and I was like, okay. My whole body started to shake. I started to freak out internally, get really highly anxious because I still struggle with health anxiety. And a lot of that is because of all the abuse I went through, and the fact that my nervous system it's triggered very easily with my health. Because as my friend Tabby points out, that if you've been severely emotionally abused, your brain has been traumatized, your brain is part of you, your brain is connected to your nervous system, and there you go. So even though the Lord has healed me of a lot of things and given me a lot of ability to cope. I still freak out. I hate it. Drives me crazy, actually. I don't like it. It makes me mad. And this morning, I woke up and that was like the first thing. I was like, dang, I didn't even do anything. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing the sparkly things in your eye. And I'm like, oh man. And so I had to immediately just relax and not freak out. And I've learned to calm myself down when that happens because it's scary. And one of my big fears is going blind. I don't want to go blind. Not that I would, but it's just where my mind goes. It's like, okay, I'm going to go blind because this is going to happen. But I was able to lay down for a couple minutes. And eventually I was able to take some Advil Dual, which has Tylenol and Advil in it. And I took some magnesium to help with the pain in my neck. I had some coffee to get some caffeine in me. And I used a heating thing on my neck because when I get these ocular migraines, that's what I go through. And it's a nightmare. And I don't like it, just so you know. I don't like it. And it's gotten worse since I've lived in Tennessee. I used to live in California, and California I had the issue. I didn't know what it was in California, but here in Tennessee, that white sky, and we just had a 35-degree drop in temperature. So it just, it's super bright out right now, and I'm like going, it looks nice out. I want to go out there, but I can't because I just can't. It's just too overwhelming. So I struggle with that. But I don't talk about it because I don't want to talk about it most of the time. But I also decided I think it's important that I talk about it because I think sometimes people get the idea that if you've gone through a long period of recovery, that you're always all together. And, one of the jokes I have with a friend of mine who is a therapist is that if people knew how screwed up therapists are, they would probably never want to go to see one. So so I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted to let you know that. I also wanted to let you know that, I have dealt with, the parent thing. Both my parents are dead. My mom died of cancer when I was in my 30s. And I went through a whole thing with that and had to forgive her for all the stuff she did to me. Prayed for her for over 20 years to come to the Lord. She finally did at the end of her life. And then I took care of my dad, who actually abandoned me. And it wasn't until I met him when he was about 86 years old and took care of him until he died. And he had dementia and Parkinson's. So I understand what it's like to be a caregiver. I took care of my mother and my father, and I'm only 57. Most of the people, especially when I was taking care of my dad, and I did that during COVID, most of the people in those assisted livings and that I had to deal with were 20 years older than me. Here's the thing, my dad was 40 years older than me, so that explains that part. And the Lord did a lot through that, in that part of my life. And it's a chapter that it was difficult, but it was so rewarding. So if you're a caregiver, you're in that state, I get it. I've gone through it. In fact, see that behind me? I don't know. See that right there, that flag behind those books? That's actually the flag that I received for my dad's burial. He was a Korean War vet, and he's been gone almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in a couple of weeks. So I've had to deal with that too. I've had to deal with health issues. I wasn't able to have children. I've had physical issues there. I've had to deal with interfamily issues. I've had to deal with my own anger towards God. And there's this survey, it's called the Adverse Child Effects questionnaire that therapists give people, and to find out how many things did this person go through in their childhood. And I think there's 10 things on the list. I went through 8 of them. So I just share all of that because I don't wallow in what I've gone through, because God has got me through it all and I've walked through it. A lot of people will like to say, I want to get over something. And I go, no, 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 no. You never get over anything. If you're getting over something, it means you didn't walk through it. So that's why life is the way that it is. And I think that's, for me, one of the benefits to being an older person now, and this is the best stage I've ever been in my life, is the fact that I can look back 50 years and look at what God has done in my life, and the tools and the instruments and the relationships that He's given me to deal with the stuff that I've gone through. I don't believe in being a victim, because God's word says we're not. And I also don't believe in being fake. In fact, there is a cost to becoming real. And that's actually the title of my book when I get it written. That's going to be the name of it, The Cost of Becoming Real, because it's cost me a lot. It's cost me more than I can convey to get to the root of things and to be real. And I have stories I can tell. And that's what I will do. I will be doing that in next year. I will elaborate, share other things, and hopefully provide you with some inspiration and comfort, because I want you to have a better day. And by the way, I want you to know why I decided to make that my ending tagline here. Because when I did my show, Bible News Radio, I always used to tell people to be bold, stand up and go with God because He loves you. And that's true. But I didn't talk about recovery or my personal issues. And I wasn't trying to help people with their issues when I was doing that show. This channel is different. And those of you who've known me for 20 years, you already know that. And I appreciate the fact that you've supported what I've done for all those years. And if you're new, then you don't know the other part. But you know this part, right? So the reason why I decided to make that tagline, I hope you have a better day, is because my therapist, Lisa, at the time when I saw Lisa, often at the end of my session, she would say to me, I hope you have a better day. And that really hit me, because it's kind of like, yeah, you know what? I came in here and we've worked hard in this session, and her final comment to me after a closing prayer often was what she would say. She would often say, I hope you have a better day. And I love that, because isn't that what we want? Isn't that what we want? We want to have a better day. We don't want somebody to go away from our presence feeling worse. I mean, that would suck, right? I mean, like, hey, click on me, watch this video, and afterwards I hope you feel like a piece of crap. No. No, I hope you have a better day. And I think that is the legacy from her that I want to give to you, because of how that has worked out in my life. You know, if to know me the way that I am now, there are two people in my life that without those two people, I wouldn't be who I am today. And that's my therapist, and that's my husband. You know, if you don't think that conversations can change somebody, then you've never had a conversation with somebody for any length of time that matters, because they do. And, you know, I often told her, you know, thank you for having this conversation with me. I had so many conversations with her that changed who I am and brought out the best in me. And I also had conversations with my mother and others that didn't bring out the best in me and crushed me. My goal here is to help you to have a better day. Because you know what? Sometimes you just need to know you're not alone. Sometimes you need to know that, you know what, there is somebody out there that gets it. There's somebody that gets it, but they're not stuck wallowing. And that's part of the reason I coach, because I don't think Christians should wallow. I think Christians are victorious folks. We have God on our side. And yeah, sometimes we're going to get mad at God. Sometimes we're going to have fisticuffs and get pissed off. Yours truly has. I actually have a Bible over there on my Bible bookshelf over there. You see right there? That's my Bible bookshelf back there. My husband gave me a Bible on my 30th birthday because I ripped up my other Bible. I'm not proud of it, but my husband got me a new Bible, and the backstory is it's because I ripped up my other one because I was mad at God. And you know what? I figured it was the easy way to beat God up. If I could beat God up, that's what I would do, is rip up the Bible. Now, obviously, I don't advocate that because I felt really bad after I did it. But I understand these things, which is my point. And, I'm thankful that God has a sense of humor, that my old therapist had a sense of humor, that my husband definitely has a sense of humor. And I hope that through some of these videos, you'll see that I have a sense of humor too. So today I just wanted to bring that to you, let you know, look, I have my own struggles, my own challenges, and I deal with them daily. But I also know that God's called me to this work. And so I hope that this video has shared with you a little bit more about who I am. And as always, I have information on how you can get in touch with me if you want to set up a free consult. I do that because I think it's important to be able to meet a person before you work with them. And if you feel comfortable, then you can hire them. So I try to treat people how I want to be treated. So there you go. I would love to hear from you. So feel free to get in touch with me. Leave a comment. I try to respond to all of them. And I will look forward to seeing you in another video pretty soon. And I hope you have a better day.